Hey everybody, it's the OMAD Dad. Welcome back to my YouTube channel, a channel that is dedicated to living the OMAD lifestyle or eating just one meal a day. Well, I'm back again with another What I Eat in a Day series of OMAD meals. Now, I like to put these videos out not as a sort of an end-all, be-all guide as to what you're supposed to eat on this particular diet way of eating, but I put these out there to let you know that I'm a real person eating real meals in real situations. And this is a really good example because this week I was very busy at work. I didn't really have that much time to prepare a lot of meals or meals that were in depth. So there's a few takeout meals mixed in here. There's some kind of quick meals. And you can do that too if you go to the grocery store and you buy and focus mostly on buying components. And, again, I've said that your meal should consist of whatever you can make a meal out of. That's what you should be eating. So you don't have to necessarily come up with a formal collection of components on a plate that all inherently go together. They can be pantry cleanout. They can be just things that you would eat that would you know would enable you to make kind of a complete meal. And also, as a rule, as you know, if I've said on this channel, I also try to make sure I get some healthy fat, some good protein, and some fiber in there, because I find that those three things really work together well for me to keep me feeling full and satiated longer. So I'm going to dive right into this, and I got a little bit different this time around because I'm actually going to give you the calorie counts for these meals, because some of you are going to say, well, that's a pretty large looking meal. How can you eat all of that and still be losing weight or at least maintaining? So I've included the calorie counts on these meals. I have an app that calculates it out for me. So I did the best I could with that. So I have the calories and some of the fat and carbohydrate and protein percentages are broken down here as well. All right, so first we're going to start off with this meal. This I got at one of my favorite new takeout places in the Western Massachusetts area. It's called the Daily Operation, kind of a new hipster spot. Their menu changes weekly, and just a really great place to get some kind of quick, trendy but fun takeout food. You can eat inside, but it's just really sort of informal, tasty, creative stuff, and it's kind of a fusion restaurant. A lot of Asian fusion. They have Creole and Cajun influences there as well. It's just a seasonal New England. I mean, you name it. There's just some really good stuff there. You should go and check them out if you're ever in this area. But first, we have a very full, colorful plate here. I have a blackened fish sandwich. I have radicchio and pear salad with an apple cider vinaigrette and toasted pumpkin seeds. I have some spiced roasted potatoes, and I also have a good handful of almonds. I have a banana, and I have a glass of red wine. And this was my OMAD meal. This came in at about 1,587 calories. I know it doesn't look it, but it was 1,587 calories at 8% protein, 43% fat, and 49% carbs. Now, the carb intake on this meal is about 100 grams of carbs, which is pretty smart, pretty reasonable. And, one thing I like to do is I take my calories, my maintenance calories, at what I know I can eat, and I like to maximize that as much as I can. So that's why my meals will include plant food and starches and different things. And my one caloric beverage that I'm allowing myself was about a 5-ounce pour of red wine. And the brand changes every time, but this was a nice, colorful, healthy meal, nice mix of food, very, very tasty. Next up was Chinese takeout night. So this is a pretty starchy meal, very carb-heavy meal, but included some of my favorites from my local Chinese takeout place. So I had about 5 sticks of teriyaki beef. I had an order of veggie lo mein noodles, an order of the steamed white rice. I love that steamed Asian white rice, get that nutty flavor. And I had a banana. I had another handful of almonds. and another 5-ounce glass of red wine. Now, this looks like a very heavily carb heavy meal. This looks like it would be very, very high calories as well. But this surprisingly came in at 1,447 calories. That's 12% protein, 23% fat, and a 65% carbohydrate meal at 157 grams. Again, it's a little bit heavier on the carbohydrates. It was a predominantly, at 65% carbs, a predominantly carbohydrate friendly meal. But it was really good. It kept me full, but I wasn't overly stuffed. You want to be functionally full at the end of these meals. What does that mean? You want to be full and you want to be satiated, but you don't want to be so full that you need to take a couple of hours to recuperate. So, for the most part, you're seeing I'm putting all of my food on one plate. And, I could try and stack some of the other components of this up on the one plate as well, but there's certain things that I just like to keep kind of separate. But this was a very tasty meal for me, very quick, very cheap. Again, this was a pretty busy week for me, so I didn't get a chance to cook as much as I would like to. But at 1,447 calories, I thought that was quite a plate of food for that amount. Okay, next up, this is actually 2 days later. The meal that was the day before this, for some reason, the picture quality just wasn't really worth it. So this was actually 2 days after that last meal that you just saw. So here is what I would call more of a pantry cleanout. I had 4 scrambled eggs. I had the leftover reheated veggie lo mein. I had 3 whole wheat dinner rolls. I had to use the rest of those up. I had 6 whole strawberries, a glass of the Honest brand fruit punch for my caloric beverage. I like that particular brand because it almost tastes watered down. It has very little calories. It's not as sweet as your typical fruit punch, but you still get the taste and the flavor. And for dessert, I had a couple of homemade brownies. Now, again, another good sized plate here, good amount of carbs, a lot of stuff going on here. We come in at 1,539 calories, 50% carbs at 168 grams, 30% fat, and 20% protein. Again, this is a prime example of what I was talking about in the beginning of the video about how you don't really need to have a formal meal where everything kind of goes together. This is just a collection of different things I had in my refrigerator and pantry that really needed to be used up. And I love doing that. I love making dents into my inventory. This is what we should be doing instead of wasting food, instead of just keep buying and buying and buying. Going out, using the food that you have on hand. Next up, my local grocery store had whole chicken on sale for 88 cents a pound. So when you see something like that, it should be coming home with you. And what I decided to do here was I removed the spine from the bird and butterflied it open and marinated in a bunch of different herbs and spices overnight with a little bit of salt and pepper. And I put that on the barbecue, and I had the rest of my family, my wife and kids, had the other meat amongst themselves, and I had some of the barbecued chicken legs. So I had here, we see a couple of chicken legs. I had some homemade mashed potatoes, a little bit of some gravy that I had that was left over from my freezer. I just took it out, defrosted it, and reheated it. You'll also see a bowl of some almonds. There's about, I think, 6 of the Clubhouse crackers. About 7 or 8 whole strawberries that I sliced up. Just a simple tossed green salad with a homemade vinaigrette. And one of my OMAD drinks of choice, a 5-ounce pour of some red wine. This big collection of food right here, all of this food comes in at 1,442 calories. That's 25% carbs at 109 grams, still not bad on the carbohydrates. 39% fat at 77 grams, and our protein 36% and 158 grams of protein. So you're getting a good amount of protein here between the chicken legs and the almonds. The protein is a little bit higher than it normally would be for me. But overall, this was a really nice, just a big meal. I have a grill that's in my backyard, is fairly close to my home, so I grill year round, even in the winter. My neighbors think I'm nuts, but um, the flavor that I got on this chicken was just outstanding. And again, I'm all about maximizing the amount of calories that I can for what I have. And this is what I would do for when I would lose weight. You know, I would either put all of my food on one plate where I knew I could be under my calories, or I would just kind of plan it out ahead of time. Just give me get an idea and a rough estimate of roughly how many calories each one of these meals is going to be, and maximize it as best as I can so that I'm full, but I'm functionally full, as I mentioned before. Okay, next up was kind of a hybrid, half takeout and half pantry cleanout. I went to Chipotle. I like to go there every so often just to kind of switch things up. I always go there and get the salad bowls. They're not my favorite restaurant in the world, but they do have some healthy options. My main complaint with them is that number one, yes, they are convenient and you can order on the app, but you really kind of have to go there because every location, depending on what time you go, has certain things that are best looking and fresher looking than others. Sometimes you go in and you say, well, I'm going to order online and I'm going to get the a chicken salad bowl, and you get there and the chicken looks like it's been sitting there for about a week and a half. So I don't order it online anymore. I just go in whenever I'm craving it, and I go in and I look at what looks fresh and add that to my bowl. But and I'd say one other complaint that I have is they only have one salad dressing. They have their Chipotle vinaigrette, and to me, it's just not really all that great. So I always skip the vinaigrette. I bring it home. I put my own vinaigrette on there. So this was a pork carnitas salad bowl. It had salad. It had white rice, pinto beans. There was pico de gallo. There's the tomatillo salsa, cheese, lettuce, of course, peppers and onions, and then my own homemade vinaigrette on there. I also heated up some, I think about 6 taquitos, chicken and cheese taquitos, which I sometimes have in my freezer. Combine that with a small bag of Lay's chips, another glass of that Honest brand fruit punch, and an apple cider donut as my dessert. Now this meal comes in at a whopping total of 1,550 calories. Yeah, I know, right? Like, there's some bulk here. There's quite a bit going on. There's that bag of chips. There's the juice and a donut even. My God, I'm really racking up the calories here. I can't wait to see how much, like, what this has done to me at the end of the week. How could I possibly eat like this? Now, of course, I'm being facetious here, but I'm going to give you a wrap up at the end of this video of how well we did. But there's another point I want to add too before I get into the next slide, is those bags of chips up front that are in the picture that you see toward the left. That's how I like to buy my bags of chips now. I used to buy the bigger bags of chips, and a lot of people will say, well, that's what you want to do. You get more money for your value, more volume. The problem with that, though, is that you really have to go like a bat out of you-know-what just to be able to use those up before they go stale once you open them. So if you have them there and they're this big bag of chips are lying around your house, you're going to feel tempted. You're going to be more likely to go and to eat it. You're going to snack from it. Not always going to happen. You may have some really good self-control, but this way here, you get these smaller bags. Even if you spend a little bit more money, so what? It's worth it. That investment is worth it because you have those bags. They're already weighed out. They're already portioned out. I think that one was probably 160 calories, and you eat it. You're done, and you don't have any other ones laying around. You're not going to open up another bag, or I try to buy them a la carte. In other words, I don't stock them in my house. I just buy one here and one there, and it added a little bit extra calories, a little bulk to this meal. This was a very tasty meal. I had been craving Chipotle for quite some time, but yeah, all said and done, 1,550 calories. Still pretty low on the calories with all of this food. Okay, and here we are. We're at the last meal of the week. and it's back at one of my favorite restaurant of this area, daily operation again. Um, I got my fix in here because we needed something for, again, it's been a very busy week, so I needed something quick for takeout, and I wanted to get my fix in because this coming week I'm going to be in Boston at work. So I wanted to make sure I could get all of the food that I love in before I leave. So what we have here, I have a meatloaf sandwich. They had homemade pickles on there, a little bit of mayonnaise. And what I like about their meatloaf is that it's, instead of it being ketchup heavy in the recipe, they incorporate hoisin sauce. That there's that Asian American fusion aspect of their restaurant, and I just absolutely love it. And when I make meatloaf at home, I do my kind of my own version of it, and but I do it that way from now on because it's just so good. And with that, they have on the bottom of the plate there, you see what they call stoner slaw. There's it's cabbage based. The dressing is mayonnaise based, but there's also some sesame oil in there, some sesame seeds, some cilantro. Um, Again, more of that Asian influence in the type of food, and then more of those spiced roasted potatoes, which I just really love the way they do it. They nailed that. This is a meal that I love getting from their restaurant all the time because they just really nail it. And a 5-ounce glass of red wine, one of my usuals right there. Now, this big plate of food comes in at 1,054 calories, 107 grams of carbs, 25 grams of protein, and 26 grams of fat. So, what was the end result of me eating all of this takeout food, fast food, my nonchalantly going about this nonchalantly with the meals kind of thrown together? What was the end result of this? At the end of the week, I actually took up another pound off. I eat what I like. This is what the power of OMAD. I eat what I like, but I do so on my terms, and it has given me self-control. That's what all of these meals are. You look at all of these meals, they're large meals, they keep me full, they get me satiated, but I'm functionally full. I eat my meal, I can walk away at the end of the day, I'm satisfied, I'm good, and I have a good mix of fat, fiber, and protein. So I'm getting my macronutrients, my micronutrients in there. There is some junk food in there, there are some splurges every now and then, in the sense of maybe something a little bit more fast food or a little bit more processed than another, or maybe I incorporate a dessert here and there. But overall, I make sure I have a good mix of food in my diet. I feel great, I feel full, satiated, and I'm able to function after my meal. And as a result, I actually am able to lose weight doing this. This is the power of OMAD. It's so amazing. I love doing it. So again, I hope this video was helpful to you, and I threw in some of the calorie counts and percentages just so you know that where I'm coming from on these. Again, my maintenance calories are 16 to 1700 calories. So if where I was with all of these calorie counts, it's right where I need to be if I want to continually lose weight, or if I'm where I need, I take my weight and I'm happy with it, then I can just stay right there. But and yours might be a little bit different. If you're starting off and you're a little bit larger and you have a lot of weight to lose, you don't need to go so low calorie right away, But the whole point is to have self-control, choose your food, choose wisely, and to eat that within a 1-hour time period. Eat once a day. You're not snacking, you're not grazing, you're not drinking extra calories throughout your day, and you can eat the foods that you like at the same time. Well, that is it for me for today. I hope this video was helpful. I post these videos up just so you guys get an idea of some of the things that I like to eat on my OMAD, and so that you know that I'm not starving myself, that I'm eating really well and maximizing the amount of calories that I can have, or maximizing the amount of food that I can have for the calories that I need to get in. But that is it for me for today. I hope you all have had a great day, very happy week. I hope you're having a very happy OMAD, and be well.